or I have to be Djokovic. I have to be one of the best ever do it, and the world. I need the. It's like I need validation. I'm constantly dependent on the world's validation. That's kind of what would be called grandiosity, according to some former psychiatrist. And if it's any indication about how tough I am, he got on my nerves, and I stopped seeing him. I don't see him anymore, and I threatened him a couple months ago, and he called the police on me. So yeah, very tough, tough case, and I am, and maybe that's why I'm, recording these podcasts. Is the thoughts become so deep and so dark and so extreme that the best medication, the best drug I can take is just expressing that. And I'll bring this back to my father. So I expressed this to my mother's better receiving it than my dad, but my mother is not fully equipped to receive it either. When she's in a bad mood, when she's vulnerable, when she's hurting, she likes to her go-to reaction is, oh, see a psychiatrist. You got to see a psychiatrist. I'll find someone for you. There's so many that, they're making breakthroughs in medication that can treat this kind of thinking. But I just end up getting mad at her because I've gone down that road time and time again. And I feel like, this is the same cycle. I get my hopes up. Oh, I'll be famous, and then I'm not. Then reality sets in. I'm going to get this job. I interviewed for it. It went well. I get an email saying, you didn't get the job. I'm messaging this girl I match with. She unmatches me. Then my hopes get dashed. What else? I mean, what are some other good examples? Things that we desire that we don't get, that kind of puts us down, right? The biggest one for me is, I'm hitting serves. How do I play more like a pro? And then reality sets in that I'm not at that level, and then I get depressed. I get depressed about it. I feel alone. Or I go see someone. I'm seeing a new psychiatrist on Thursday, and she's been propped up by, she's expensive, so that elevates my expectations. So she comes highly recommended. That elevates my expectations. So she better deliver, or I'm going to get angry. I'm going to get mad. This girl I matched with, once all these things, I'll create expectations, and if they're too high and I have them too frequently and they fall through, then I crash. And that crash it's very bad. It's very dark. It's very severe. And so I go through these same cycles, and in my 30s, I've realized I'm finally kind of, if you experience them enough and they hit you hard enough and you experience enough fucking pain and suffering, then finally your brain does tend to remind you, like, oh, hey, this is bad for you. Why don't we try something else? And you have to do it your fucking self. I can't go to mommy and daddy anymore. I trusted them for a long time, and they've let me down. They tried their best, but their best isn't always going to be enough, unfortunately. That's like one of the saddest things humans experience, right? Is that we can't depend on others all the time or with everything. Only, to a certain extent. And same with ourselves. We are social animals, and that means that unfortunately people are going to let you down, and sometimes people's best is not enough. And I think what I learned from this 10x experience, I didn't just hit serves. I think a lot of expectation came into the tennis thing, is because I demoed 2 tennis rackets, so I got my hopes up thinking, oh, the rackets are gonna make me play like some professional, and then I hit the balls and I realized, like, oh, well, I'm still the same guy hitting. I'm just using a different fucking racket. It's just marketing, right? It's just a thing. It doesn't make you super. And I think I can grow. I need more improvement. There's more room for improvement and acceptance than, the Serenity Prayer. Accept what you cannot change. Change what you can. Change what you can control. I've done my best with the self-improvement obsession, going to therapy, taking drugs to kind of, basically like steroids, kind of viewing all these things outside of me like, oh, this is gonna improve me by like 150%, when in actuality it's more like 5 to 10% I improve, but my brain judges it like 5 to 10 is not enough. Oh, I need to be a 50. I'm constantly, what's at the core of my issue is I'm constantly always trying to better myself, but I lack the acceptance. The acceptance is never there. It's always like, you got to be better, Casey. You got to be better. You got to outdo everyone. You got to be number 1. If you're number 2, you're just the first fucking loser. And see how intense I am? See how much pressure I put on myself? And that's just part of the cycle. That's my mental health. That's just part of the cycle of judging who I am, and then I escape. And the escape is just it's a crutch. It's outside of me. It's a drug. And then that's not sufficient. And then reality reminds me who I really am. And then I don't like that. And then so I vacillate between these 2 poles of kind of like a hopeless romantic, of being like, you romanticize or fantasize about who I possibly could be, even though it's a lie. I won't. Part of growing up is you realize you're not gonna get a perfect 10. You're not gonna be able to afford a yacht. I'm just off the top of my head. You're not going to be famous. You're not going to make 6 figures. You're lucky if you make 6 figures. You as sure as hell will not get to 7 figures. That's only like, that's like 1% of the 1%. You're going to put on weight. It's going to be tougher to be in shape as you get older. Your metabolism's going to slow down. I know this is depressing, but it's real. It doesn't have to be depressing. And I've realized that about halfway through this recording, this has gone from, it's supposed to be about my relationship with my father, and it's just gone into basically a therapy session, with me lamenting kind of what I'm going through mentally, which is just fine. Maybe it's a good sign, because when I'm identifying these things about myself, I'm realizing that, my father can't fucking help me, okay? He can just give me money, and even giving me money, that may do more harm than good. My mom, her reaction is, oh, well, you need to go see someone. And I say, oh, I've seen like 100 people. I cannot, we're just going through the same cyclical, unhelpful, harmful, energy wasting, time wasting, money wasting kind of process of dependency, and I went through a very, very, very dark, terrible place when I depended on Diana, who I dated for 6 months. It seemed like it was either forever or the longest 6 months, and mixed with also the shortest 6 months of my life. And don't even get me started how how long it took, and how much work it took to, move on from that relationship, to get her out of my head, and into a better place, after that had ended back in 2018. And yeah, so, this started out as kind of as a means to, explain my relationship with my father, but, maybe it's good to, move, motherfucker. Fuck you! See, this just gets me worked up. I think, it's after 1 a.m. It's almost 1:30. I'm, I should probably end this. It becomes, definitely becomes, it delves into nuts, being craziness, when I spend this much time alone. But I think it all comes down to what I can control is just accepting that reality it's limited. I keep wanting to go back to a comparison between myself and my sister. Like, my sister at least accepts that Charlie isn't a supermodel. Her husband is not a supermodel. Felix is a pain in the ass. Her baby, her child, who's almost 2, he's gonna be a pain in the ass. She does dentistry. Dentistry is not gonna get her 7 figures. It probably has gotten her 6. She's not. Maybe won't be able to afford a Porsche. Maybe she will. Her dream was to go into fashion, which was a long time ago now. And I think that was her fantasy of kind of like my fantasy, which I still experience, of being some kind of superstar that the world is revolving around. Maybe like a LeBron James, Kanye West. These guys get constant scrutiny. Scrutiny would be probably a better way of looking at it. It's a realer as opposed to admiration. And I guess I gotta keep giving myself these reality checks, because it's not always so great being Kanye or LeBron. There's something about them, me believing that they're more important, that my brain grasps onto, like, and won't let go of. It's like, the world has to revolve around me. I have to get attention all the time. And unfortunately, my brain doesn't grasp the reality that these guys have issues. Like, they're not free of pain. They're not free of suffering. Kanye especially, I suppose, but I don't want to make assumptions. I don't know. And LeBron and Kanye are just a couple people. There's many other people out there, and most importantly, there's myself, who I need to worry about. And so if I can kind of get to a place of accepting reality, accept that maybe this episode, no one's going to listen to. My serving in tennis is going to have its flaws. I'm not going to be able to serve at 130 miles per hour. I'm not going to get every shot in. And the biggest one is that I'm not going to be some superstar. I'm not like a mediocre athlete or artist either. I'm actually pretty talented. I'm just more of a jack of all trades than the master of one. That's a whole other can of worms that we can discuss. I think earlier in my show's run, I did an episode on jack of all trades, master of none, on that quote. So if you're interested, you can check that on Spreaker if it's still up. But now my voice is going. I can feel my throat getting dry. I'm running out of